Okay. Hello, Denise, and hello, possible YouTube viewer who happened upon my random unlisted video. I'm Neil. This is my video portion for Networking Capstone course for Mohawk. All right, so first thing I want to do is quickly outline how my project has pivoted. I've talked about 2 out of 3 of these pivots in the weekly updates, so this should just be quick. Firstly, my LAN and my internet broadcast domains are now just one broadcast domain. I thought it was unrealistic to restrict internet access to one and not the other because gamers need internet. There's a heartbeat monitoring software. There's always online. There's updates. There's games where you have to log in to play, kind of thing. So they're both one broadcast domain, but I've mentioned that already. Number 2, the GPOs on the LAN client were supposed to be a little bit more robust, but once I started messing around with Reboot Restore, which is my implementation of Deep Freeze, I found it was way easier and it accomplished the exact same goals that I wanted to accomplish with GPOs without having to lock down the system unnecessarily. So I didn't create too many of those. I just went with the Reboot Restore. It seemed like exactly what I needed for this project. And deployment server and Active Directory server were originally supposed to be 2 servers. They're only 1 due to some physical hardware limitations. I only have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and they were absolutely chugging because both of them require 2 gigabytes minimum. And plus there were 3 or 4 other VMs open at the time on top of that. So it was unfortunate. I'm still trying to follow best practice by having the deployment server on a different volume on that server. Different than the deployment share from MDT and different from Active Directory itself. But yeah, those are just 1 server right now. That's not too big a deal. Okay, so let's go to. I wanted to go here first. Okay, so just to check, these are all running on the internal network. Capstone server is the DC. Capstone client is just a client, and pfSense is the router. pfSense also has a bridged adapter. That's the WAN interface. And the internal network is the LAN. Okay, so here it is. Extremely robust software, just sits there and works. Only messed up one single time, but that was my own fault, and I got it working. Okay, so let's try to ping Google's public DNS. Yep, of course that works. Okay, we can move on from here. My keyboard is in a little bit of a... It's a little far away from me, so I have to have a weird mic setup. Okay, so now we can ping here. We can ping the domain controller, and we can ping Google's public DNS. Excellent. And then we can ping the client and Google's public DNS. Okay, awesome. So first of all, I want to explain a little bit about how MDT and WDS work together. So the first thing I did was grab an installer with MDT, and this is the MMC, the deployment workbench that does all the MDT stuff. So out of the box, it comes with nothing. You have to grab an operating system, then you have to create a task sequence, and with that task sequence, you can right-click Update Deployment Share to get a disk image, and that disk image is what you use to image another computer. So the first thing I did was operating systems, import new operating system. I've already pre-done this here because it does take a while, and also I filled up this hard drive or this volume to the max, so I might be able to do it. You go to this PC. I'll just show you what I did. Sources. boot.wim and install.wim are the 2 files that I'm looking for, so just import. What's that error? Oh, it wants one up. Okay. And we can just, whatever, put that there. It should... Oh, yeah, okay, so it'll say there's not enough space on the disk. But this is exactly what I did to make the first image, which is right here, the .wim file. So you need this to create a task sequence. A task sequence is essentially all of the work. Here, I can show the properties of the task sequence here. It is all of the work to create the operating system on the new client. So it goes through installation, validation, all this stuff. Yep, this is how it's done. This is how it's done automated. Okay, so that's all good. So using this task sequence, you can right click and update deployment share. I'm not going to do that because I haven't fully tweaked everything so that it would, because I have two images, and this is set up for the second image, which I will be showing how to fully use Windows deployment service as well as MDT. Okay, so to recap, create this, go to the optical drive, grab the install.wim and boot.wim files, import them, create a task sequence, right-click, update deployment share, and then I am left with, in deployment share, boot, a light touch file. So with this light touch file, I created test1. This virtual machine right here should be here. Excellent. Okay, so what I did on this machine is I installed a couple of items, Notepad, simple port forwarding, things that gamers might need. I also installed a couple drivers, Xbox 360 ones. You can see all the things that I did in downloads. There's all the stuff that I did. Okay, so, and then what I did is, as a proof of concept kind of thing over here, then what I did is I went to create a new task sequence, but instead of this task sequence being a general task sequence, this is what's called a sysprep and capture task sequence. So what happens is after you right-click update deployment share for this capture, you can go to the remote machine, which is what I did. So I'll go to folder options here. File Explorer. And you can remotely access the scripts. Where is it? Oh, it's a share, right? So deployment share, $. Okay, and then you can remotely access the scripts that are on the C drive over here. And I'll show it running just a little bit. Scripts, light touch. And what this will do is it will run this task sequence right here to create a capture of everything on test 1. So all of my changes that I've made, all of the programs I've installed, drivers that I've used, and whatnot. So we'll let that go. We'll see if it catches up. Might have to. I might leave a notation here, an annotation on YouTube, just to skip ahead a little bit if this takes too long. I'm not working with too much RAM. Okay, it seems like it's trying to do something. Well, anyways, this is just I just want to show you how the wizard pops up across the network, and it'll ask the exact same questions as oh, there it is. There we go, getting some bootstrap settings. I won't go through with this because I already have this image. I don't want to overwrite it. It took me a little bit of tinkering to get it how I want it, so I guess I can show a little bit more of this process. Don't want the video to be too long either. So yeah, this is the system preparation stuff happening right here. So it's grabbing all of these items. Okay, so well I can show this in a different, easier way. So then here we'll minimize this for now. We know it's working. Okay, so then I come here. So I go to Server Manager, Tools, Windows Deployment Server, and I grab two different images. So the boot image is the generic boot image that comes off of, again, the Windows 10 Education Version CD, and this image is the generic install.wim that comes off of that CD. However, this one is the image that I've captured from test 1. So that would be this, and it shows it's waiting for my credentials right now. So this is the process that's been done here, fully realized. And using this, I will create a new machine. Let's say test 3. I hope it works this time. Last time I accidentally misclicked and had a perfect video too. Okay. So we need to do two things. We need to go into System and bump Network Boot up and hard disk up all the way. Actually, let's get floppy down. Okay, that's good. And then we need to change the network to internal so it works with the router. And we should be good. Okay. So, actually, yeah, it always has to do this. Update, and here we go. Okay. Okay, this is working. So now it's contacting the Windows deployment server over Pixie Boot, and I'm gonna have to press F12 to initiate the installation. But so this is just taking, there we go, that exact image that I captured and writing it to a new VM. First time I got this working was very awesome. And this will run for a little bit. Maybe we can come back to it just to use my time a little bit more effectively. Okay, so I will show off. So the unfortunate thing about sysprep, which was my version of, sorry, not sysprep, reboot restore, which was my version of deep freeze that we use at school, is that it's free, or at least the version that I used is free. So actually, let's just, before I get ahead of myself, let's so we're going to do the Windows 10 captured drive. Yes. And now the installation is starting automatically. When it boots up properly, we should have, instead of the regular Windows 10 image with nothing on the desktop, we should have all of our installed programs on the desktop, this contact card, and what we have in the downloads folder as well. So we should have all of those things.